Joe Rogan AI Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Joe Rogan AI Experience. This is episode number 2, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. I have to remind everyone that every single word in this podcast has been generated by AI using Chatgpt. So, this is not me, Joe Rogan, speaking, and these aren't the real voices of the people we'll be talking about. This is just AI technology showcasing what it's capable of. And let me say, it's pretty damn impressive. So let's dive in, sit back, relax, and enjoy this AI-generated experience. But remember, none of this should be taken seriously, and it's for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's do this. How you doing, Mr. President?
Joe, it's great to be here. I'm doing fantastic, just fantastic. The energy in this room is tremendous.
That's great to hear. So, Mr. President, I gotta ask you, are you a fan of the UFC?
Joe, let me tell you, I love the UFC. It's one of the most exciting sports.
Welcome back to the channel. What you just got through listening to was an excerpt from what was an artificial fake conversation between Joe Rogan and the former President Donald Trump, right? Which is interesting because the real Joe Rogan talked about, he didn't think it was ideal to bring him on the Joe Rogan podcast, because he didn't want people to feel like that would be him being in support of Trump. So all very interesting, but this AI generated tool, what we know as Chatgpt, was able to create the interview anyway. Now, I listened to that interview, and I don't want to get any copyright strikes or, any problems with creators. I'm just using this information as reference to let you know what's out there. Definitely, I would encourage you go listen to it just so you can see how sophisticated this technology is if you don't know about Chatgpt and don't know about the things it can do. Unless you've been living under a rock, you heard of Chatgpt. Now, universal basic income comes up a lot in Chatgpt. If you watch the channel, you know that's one of my main pushes because the greatest people in history have pushed for universal basic income, whether it be Dr. Martin Luther King, Milton Friedman, Elon Musk, all these greatest figures in history, the smartest people in history, the greatest politicians, historians, what have you, have pushed for this. And these are all facts, right? In fact, I would go as far as to say that if you haven't considered universal basic income as a solution to the world's problems and you consider yourself an intellectual, I would raise concern in that categorization, as to say, maybe you need to look into that area, not necessarily to support it, but to understand why the greatest people in history supported the greatest minds and so on. And why, even in areas like cryptocurrency, you should be aware of it and understand why it goes hand in hand with cryptocurrency. It goes with crypto like peanut butter goes with jelly, right? And these are all provable facts. You can find a lot of information about through watching the education, entertainment, television show. All right. So why is universal basic income a solution to Chatgpt? But I want to take another excerpt from a channel I like to watch, the Tech Lead Show. Again, don't want to get any copyright strikes. This is all just for reference and fair use to comment on it a bit. But I'm going to play a little excerpt from it and let you see, what some of our computer programmers and technicians think about Chatgpt.
You just don't have time to download your app anymore. There's only so many hours in a day. And so the way I see it, the greatest threat to programmers with AI is the amount of content and media that is just going to be generating just day in, day out. And it's going to be viral every single day that you're going to have to compete with your stupid little app with rounded corners and shiny buttons and maybe a little particle effect here and there, while the AI is just spewing rainbows everywhere. And so now your website or app is going to have to compete with generated art, generated viral memes, generated characters with generated voices, generated music, and generated text, games, images, and everything in between. And so kind of like how programmers used to only have to compete with other programmers, later on they found they had to compete with influencers for time on social media because programmers basically compete with the likes of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, which are basically powered by influencers. But now we all have to compete with AI as well, and you don't have to be an artist anymore. Anybody can create art, anyone can create viral images, text, memes, and so arguably now we have to compete with so many more people. We've got to compete with everybody because, maybe back in the day you could be a digital artist and make a name for yourself on Instagram, but now you've got to compete with AI art. If you're an animator, maybe you could have had a nice YouTube channel with.
All right, so that was from Tech Lead, and I would again encourage you to um, watch the full videos. The titles are on the videos here, and the Joe Rogan AI Experience, it's called. All right, and those videos are available on YouTube. And I found both very interesting. So you kind of got to hear what they thought about Chatgpt or what it or the type of thing it does. So let's start with someone like Joe Rogan, for example. Uh, Joe Rogan has uh, probably brought billions of dollars to the entertainment field, right? He got about $100 million deal with Spotify right now. Again, that's just the amount of value he got to take home himself, but the effect overall for them to be able to pay Joe Rogan $100 million, right? That means that they're he would have to create billions of dollars in that economy more than likely, right? And that's what he's done with the Joe Rogan podcast. Uh, Now, let's think about that for a moment. That's the type of value he's brought in. Now, for Joe Rogan to be able to bring that kind of value in, he's got to be able to do what he does, right? Interview these people with the certain language emphasis he uses, the certain mannerisms he has. And what we got to see with the Chat GPT model was that, and I encourage you to watch the full video so you can really see how sophisticated it was. But this AI is able to conduct this interview with Donald Trump, and if you didn't know it was Chat GPT and you're driving in your car, or you're just listening to the podcast, I don't think, unless you were forewarned, I don't think you would assume it was an AI produced content, right? You wouldn't know the difference. I only knew the difference because I knew the video was about that, but I don't think I would have known. I don't think most people would have known had they hadn't been made aware from the beginning, all right? And so think about that. That means these billions of dollars that we thought only Joe Rogan could produce to come to the market is now all being done by AI technology. Now, listen to someone like the Tech Lead. What he discussed in the video he's speaking about was that, specifically a lot to do with programs. Our program's going to be destroyed. And mostly what he was leading to was that many of the apps that programmers are going to produce are going to be geared towards, in some way, towards social media, right? And right now, 90% of people on the internet are consuming mostly social media data and information, and most businesses are going through that way. And so basically, a programmer is generally doing something application wise in harmony with social media. So everything's kind of like going to social media. And when I talk about Bitcoin NYK, and people say, "Oh, Bitcoin NYK is stupid, it's dumb," what do we use it for? It's not better than this computer generate this what this coder did over here. And you got to see in this video that the coders and programs are already dead. Whatever they did, it's not going to hold up against ChatGPT because everything is attention value driven. Your attention's driven. And these AIs are creating all these interesting pictures and videos and create all this stuff. And they can create more than you and they can do it better than you. And so, whether ChatGPT destroys the programmer directly or indirectly, it really doesn't matter. But it's all leading up to the same thing, right? And that's what's being expressed through many of these the views on this, and it's almost just common sense, right? It's almost just logical reasoning and common sense that you're going to come to this, right? What we don't hear a lot about what to do about this though is solutions, right? So when you imagine and I can go on all day just showing you just how advanced AI technology is, whether it's some type of humanoid robot or some type of super intelligent mind, AI mind that is 100 times smarter than the average human, right? If you go to the entertainment and the movie arena, whether you have this cutting edge CGI that's reproducing actors, reproducing their voices, or generating an amalgam or generating just a totally made up character or human being to play in a movie, that's going to happen as well, right? And nobody's going to own this but the studios. The studios may not even have to pay actors in the future, right? All this craziness, right? That's it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's happening now, and it is going to happen. So if 90% of the conduit to much of this is social media, why wouldn't we start there? And that's what Bitcoin MYK does. It's amazing to me that people in the cryptocurrency space who are supposed to be the smartest, some of the blockchain technology is supposed to be up there with the best technology we got, right? It is amazing to me that this isn't the number one priority in the cryptocurrency space. They're actually doing other crazy stuff like games. And what Tech Lead was just saying about gaming is that your stupid little game, your dumb little app is going to be outpaced by these AI machines. They can create better games, right? And that's happening now. So what we should be focusing on, right, is projects like Bitcoin and YK. And why is that, right? Let me demonstrate why that is. I'm going to like this video, right? And I'm going to show you what happens, right, when I like it. So I'm going to hit the like button, right? You see my cryptocurrency balance, 264 Bitcoin and YK tokens, right? And I'm going to refresh my screen. And when I refresh my screen, I'm going to show you what's going to happen here. And I wanted to show you guys, I was trying to save you the problems of the process, but you can see my balance has changed. I believe it was 264. I could be wrong before. I think it was. It's up to 268. But it actually showed, and I'm going to take you on my wallet, but it actually showed on my screen when I hit the pause button to try to keep you guys from seeing that. Well, I'm going to do it again. Let me go do another video. That way you can see it in real time. Let me like this Jack Levin video. All right. I'm going to like it. And then I'm going to refresh my browser here, so you can see it in real time what should happen. I got my recording device going, so that's what I was trying to save you guys from. But let me show you here. It should show us what's going to happen. And again, I'm only lagging because I'm recording the screen at the same time. And I'm doing this on a old browser, right? Outdated browser. I'm going to speak a little bit about that in a second. I've just been so busy, I never updated this browser. And what you're looking at, your screen won't appear exactly like this, and I'll explain why. So we had 268. Now it's 269, but it should have showed me a message of the algorithm working, right? And I'm not sure why it didn't do that. Okay, there it is. As soon as I, it was just lag behind. It was just because of recording, I guess. But let me explain something, because I did get a message from some of you all who was saying, hey, the site looks old, it looks outdated. Let me tell you what's happening, right? I had a programmer tell me that, I told him that with outdated browsers, it's going to show up different, right? So you're going to have a much better layout if your computer is up to parts. And I had a program tell me, oh, it doesn't matter if your computer browser isn't updated, or what browser you're on, you're going to still see the same thing on the website, which is totally false. At least with Bitcoin NYK site it is. So you do need, for security purpose, you should as well. I'm just kind of being lazy here because this particular device I'm recording on, it picks up my voice for some reason better than many of my other devices, right? But I haven't updated my browsers or anything yet for this, because I just use this to record videos, right? But it's going to look different for you all. It's going to look a lot better. But let me show you what happened, right? Much like how Chatgpt is this algorithm that can reason and do all these things, what actually happened was the algorithm we created for Bitcoin NYK was able to understand that we like the video, right? And they awarded us cryptocurrency. It's almost like mining, just doing social media activities. Where that 90% of programmers have went to social media, where all the Chat GPT stuff will end up, the TikToks and so on. That's why we need interfaces and layouts like this with the wallet integrated. We don't just need a wallet and some stupid game app over here. We need something like this. And that's what's going to, where all the people's going to be. This is going to be the model of the future. But also, let's show you exactly what happened here. Okay, so we're inside the transactions page, right? And let's just show you what just happened, right? This is telling the story. So a few minutes ago, I received points for adding an activity to favorites that was liking the video. And you can see it right here at the top of the screen, right? That was the 2 videos. Then I got another point for updating my profile, right? For visiting a site, a page on this platform. For logging in, I got a point. Then new members are getting 10 points for joining the site and so on, right? This is kind of like our version of mining. But why is this significant, right? And why is this a solution for like Chat GPT? And why does UBI work with this or go along with this? And why is this so important? So let me explain that real quick. In a world where automation is taking over everything, we can't even create anymore because the AI can create images and videos and can even hold much more interesting conversations to us than other humans can. It's not a whole lot left for a human being to do. Can we agree upon that? And so we got to somehow reconfigure, change the definition of work and what we call work. That's the only way we can survive in this. And so if 90% of most of the activities, as Tech Lead explained, goes to social media, right? When these people are building these apps and all this stuff, everything's kind of pouring into social media, right? Whether it's YouTube or Twitter, or all this stuff is getting incorporated in. The AIs are generating pages for them, content and businesses, right? We're going to have to be able to employ people, right, who aren't going to be 100,000 times smarter than the average human, like the AI systems is going to take their jobs and so on. And these things are going to keep learning, right? So we're going to need distribution systems, right? No matter how you look at this, even and it doesn't have to be the entire population that has a, that is a victim to this. It can only be 20-30% people, and that could be catastrophic enough to cripple the economy in the world, right? So uh, problematic for these people. These people are going to still need work and jobs and stuff. And this isn't just to unskilled laborers and workers, right? Because I know a lot of people try to take themselves out of, I don't need this, I can do this or that. No, these are professional jobs at danger as well. Doctors, lawyers, psychiatrists, the works, right? So that's why I say how very important this is. And uh, let me say this real quick as well. In fact, let's go look at some layouts for Bitcoin MYK or some of our front ends, because we don't just have one; there are several, and we're multi-chain, right? So looking at one site isn't all of Bitcoin MYK, but I want to speak to some programmers and developers who have contacted us, so we're clear about some things. All right, so this is a bit more accurate to how it appears on my screen, but again, if your browser's not updated, it's going to appear different depending on what browser you're using and so on and so forth, right? But let me say this: a lot of times we get these programmers, they're going to come in. I want you all to be aware that some of these people are competitors. They are disgruntled people. They weren't coming to try to find anything good about the project anyway. I just want you all to be aware of that. And so in this space, we have haters and we have people like that, right? So you're going to catch these people saying, oh, well, just saying, oh, yeah, it sounds outdated. I don't trust it, and so on and so forth. And not speaking about the technology, not speaking about the algorithms. And basically, what these algorithms allow actually is doing is it can extrapolate what you're doing in social media, and you're being rewarded these cryptocurrencies because the system knows exactly what you're doing, right? The different tags you're doing on social media interfaces, right? And the reason we're saying that that's a great solution, because universal basic income is going to need distribution. And we're going to move into an economy, and if you don't believe me, just look to the greatest minds in the world, where we're going to have it, because we look at the people next to us, let's be honest, right? They aren't the smartest crayons in the box, right? And so these people aren't going to go on to be able to compete with an AI system. Even the smartest people in the world aren't going to be able to do that, right? And so you can just see this around you happening anyway. So can you imagine sitting home using a social media interface like this, where now everybody is, in a sense, employed and being able to participate in the economy, right? We need a distribution system like this. Now, unfortunately, the greatest minds in history, in cryptocurrency, in our politics, in our economy, although they've recognized this problem, and understandably so, someone recognized it early or saw it was coming, didn't have the technology to meet those challenges. They can only talk about the dangers of it. But in this day and age, projects like Bitcoin MYK, which I founded, we actually have created the technology to solve the distribution problem in the best way possible, the most fair way, the most usable way, right? And it has the ability to do that. That's why this is so very important, right? I don't know how else to express it to you guys, right? I don't know if I'm speaking to the type of world and community where disaster has to strike before actions are taken, right? There are situations that sometimes require that. Buildings have to be blown up. The world has to go to hell in order for people to understand the severity of projects like this. And when people say, they come up to us and they say, oh, why is it your token taking off in value? They're misunderstanding the project. They're looking at the project as a get-rich-quick scheme and not looking at it as solving a global problem that people have been trying to solve over the last 300 years. In fact, ideas like universal basic income was introduced in modern day economics by people like Thomas Paine over 300 years ago, right? Where he spoke about something called the citizens dividend. And they had challenges then before they even had computers. Now that we have these AI revolutions, it's needed even more so, right? So, guys, join Bitcoin and YK. You can do it for free. Don't wait till disaster strikes before. Don't have it where disaster has to strike to understand these very basic concepts, right? Listen to Elon Musk. He's a smart guy. Listen to Milton Friedman. Listen to Dr. Martin Luther King. Don't ask silly questions to me, guys, like, well, your layout doesn't look pretty enough, or I'd like to see your face. None of that has anything, guys, to do with, if you don't trust me, first of all, the system's the right where you don't have to trust me. That's why everything's free. This is only a representation of your injection of attention value and personal kinetic energy. That's what's creating the value. These are attention-based economies. There's no reason for trust. There's no reason to trust me. There's no reason necessarily to put money into this, right? The people who actually are on the markets buying the cryptocurrencies are what you call speculators, right? They recognize that the value of a platform like this can increase, and they can take profit margins, right? Much like any cryptocurrency, but there should be a much more serious utilization to ideas like this, meeting the challenges of what we're going to face with Chatgpt, and having to explain this to smart people, programmers. Every minute I have to do that, we waste time solving the problem. And it's unfortunate we got programmers out here. We got supposedly smart people telling me things like, despite what browser the people are using, they should see the same thing, right? Does that make any sense to you all? You've never heard of certain sites don't run unless browsers are updated, that depending on the browser you're using, you're going to see different things, right? And it's not just videos, guys. You can do all types of posts on here. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you don't post and you're just making friends, right? You're going to earn, because every bit of attention value gives value to social media. That's why Elon Musk had to pay over $40 billion for Twitter, right? On a social media site. Because like Tech Lead said, over 90% of all attention value, technology, programming, content creation is being distributed through social media. So that means social media is where it's at. And I've had people tell me, you can't make any money off social media site. That's stupid. Well, why did Elon Musk just buy Twitter for billions of dollars? So guys, anyway, let's think about, before, even some of the comments I get. I love you guys to be participating because it's that serious and sending comments, but could you please think before you make a comment, right? Making a few extra bucks in cryptocurrency is not, it's low frequency thinking, right? When you can solve big problems like Chatgpt, solve $1 trillion problems, and you're trying to make a 10x on a $500 investment. Come on, guys. Seriously. But that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. If you have any good questions, or if you just have any things you'd like to know about Bitcoin MYK, again, it's totally free. The biggest risk to you is taking 30 seconds to get an account that's free. You can move to cryptocurrency, you gain this value. And we have over 14,000 wallets so far.